36 LED. We have a sample of 64 PLED. Again, a Parcan, 64 Parcan with the, those are 10th watt LEDs. About 350 to 400 watts of real, power, what most people see 454 watts, or 400 watts. And again, great for stages, uplighting also. Then, there you go, the pin spot LED for special effects. This is actually something we did at one of the last NAMM shows. We did a whole rain light thing. We put like 42 of them and then chased them up and down. And so you can see that with a lens, you can make it like a pin spot. Next one would be the new Mega Bar. There's a whole Mega series. It's basically just like a 3-foot bar that you can use for just about anything. But one of the most popular things is uplighting. You lay them down on the floor and you light the whole area up like that with a wall or for scrim or for a cyclorama. And again, the beauty of it is you can change the whole wall whatever color you want with your DMX controller. Next item is your good old-fashioned DJ effects. Revo 3, I happen to pick that one because that happens to be one of our #1 selling DJ effects. Cool thing about that is you can let it go to the beat of the music, or there's actually a little controller called a UC3 that you can change the programs as you would like to. Change them to the different patterns that they have in there. And you can also link them and master slave them, so whatever #1 is doing, #2 will follow. That's Revo 3 DJ lighting effect. Now we have a Theatrix Pro 48. This is kind of like a, how can I put it? It can be used for all kinds of different things. You can actually put it up on a tripod and use it like you would the old-fashioned border can, where you'd be having it flashing on the crowd like a disco effect. But what a lot of people use it for, again, is to wall wash. We actually have some pillars here that we use at trade shows all the time, and they're white. So whatever color you want to turn those pillars, you just set the color. I think we had like a black light purplish effect. And again, multi-purpose, used a lot for theater, but you can also use it for DJ effects and for all kinds of other things. Very powerful too, by the way. Hey, that gentleman's out there someplace. Anyhow, now this is where finally people said for the longest time, when are you going to get a moving headlight? And that's what we finally moved into. There's actually, I believe there's two of them in the other showroom. It's called the X-Move LED. It's actually where we utilize 20 watts of LED. We have the, actually has gobos, and it has a color changer in there. So it's just like a regular halogen light, but again, it stays cool. You can run it all night. It's very powerful. And you can see we actually use the effects there. So that's called the X-Move. There's also an X-Scan and an X-Color GP. So that's a moving head. So now LED has actually moved over into the moving head department. And then for the people that are into the church worship, large venues, we have from Elation the Opti RGB. Again, a larger, more powerful light. For those people that said LEDs just aren't strong enough, well, step into that room in a little bit, you'll see a lot of the lights that are utilizing 93 watt LEDs. You can see how powerful they get. And yet, they still stay cool. A lot of the items that are made for worship are now in the white and off-white, so they blend in with the decor. That's the Opti RGB, 24 1 watt, great for house of worship. The voltage, they vary, but they'll run as low as 1 to 2 amps, which is like nothing. And you'll see that some of the other lights, they run, I mean, you'll see it's rated on the box. I mean, they'll run like just a couple of watts, where if you remember the Vertigo had two 300 watt lamps. That's 600 watts, divide that by about 110, plus the motor, that was 7 amps. So you're talking maybe one of the equivalent lights of maybe running 1 amp or a half an amp. You have a lot more room to work with. Right. It will. It will. You'll see when we step into the next room, I'll point out. In fact, Steve works with American DJ Elation with me. We're going to go into the next room right after this, and we're going to turn on all of the American DJ Elation lights. And feel free to ask us whether it's discharge, whether it's LED, and what the power ratings are. We'll be happy to answer any questions. We're just about done. I believe I got one more here before no, two more. Flex tape. Here's another thing. If you can see this, this is actually a spool of tape. It's 20 feet long, flexible. You plug it into a controller. It actually has a remote similar to this. And you can tape that underneath the eaves. Well, this is a bar right there, but there's a lot of different uses. You can put soffits and what have you. And with the remote control, you can change the color. Say if you have a bar and it's St. Patrick's Day, you can turn everything green. Valentine's Day, turn everything red. And that's just utilizing that tape and taping it right underneath there. That's flex tape from Elation. Again, another good example of architectural use for LED. Oh, I'm sorry, did I miss a question? You can cut it down, and you can run up to, how many is it, three rolls up to 60, up to 60 feet, and you can't cut it. You just have to be careful. There are special directions. There's actually some little arrows that show you where you can cut safely. Yeah, so you can. And then they offer a wire. So like on that thing where you went over, you cut it right there, and then send a wire over to the other side so you don't waste that tape. Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Elar tripar. I actually have an Elar tripar in the other room. This is a good example of a couple of things. The tripar is one of the latest examples of the 3 LEDs in one. And what's great about that is when somebody's up on stage, the LED lights that have a separate RGB, you actually see a shadow behind the person. You'll see like the 3 colors. But with the tripar, you don't have that shadow anymore. You actually have the single shadow instead of 3 shadows, which is great for production and TV. That's the ER tripar. The other thing is, when you go over there, it's not too crowded, you'll see that that's made for what's called IP65 rated. You can actually set this up in front of your house, mount them into a concrete block, and light up your house or building or what have you. And they can be left outdoor because they are weatherproof. And that's one thing that's really advantageous. I believe Quiet Canyon out in Montebello just purchased 80 of these to light up the whole facility in the ball center. And finally, this is a piece that's over there right now. It's called the Impression. We also have another one called the Design Wash LED. This is kind of like, the mother of all LEDs. This one is 93 watts. And this is basically designed in Germany. In fact, that's where the first ones came out, and they are just phenomenal. They're brighter than bright. They're super quiet. Again, for the worship facilities, they used to always complain about the fans and all the noise of the motors whirring and what have you. But with these, you cannot hear a thing. I mean, there'll be music in there, so you won't hear them anyway next door. But you'll see we have the black one set up. We don't have any of the white ones. The white ones are, for worship facilities. But those are what are going on a lot of riders these days because the weight. Imagine if you're doing a tour with 140 of these. You've seen the big heads. You imagine the drayage you're going to have to pay per pound to bring those into a big tour. Well, these we sell them at 6 in a small box, and they roll them in one at a time, save a ton of money. So we'll have all of these lights next door. Again, Steve and I will be over there. We're going to pop on a quick light show, and if you have any questions, please feel free to come up and ask us.